Kristaps, with his abilities to space the floor and his passing, what are you seeing in terms of his ability to elevate specifically Jaylen and Jayson's impact as cutters?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more importantly of how each guy is positively impacting the next guy on both ends of the floor. And so each guy's numbers are a little bit better than what they were because of how they're making each other better. And so whether it's Jayson and Jaylen's ability to do the dirty work, whether it's Kristaps' ability to screen versus different coverages, Drew and Derek, and they're crashing and they're screening, what Al does, and then what our second unit does. So it's more important that each guy understands that, like, because of who the guy next to us is, we make each other better.
And then with Jayson, it's early, but it seems like he's taken a step as a three-level scorer, definitely trusting those 12 pounds of muscle he put on. Is there anything on that front that stands out to you or impresses you the most?
Just the pace with which he's playing with, and he's taking what the defense gives him. So there's a time, like you said, there's a time for threes, layups, twos, whatever it is, but the most important thing is he plays with the level of intentionality, pace, and physicality, and he's doing that.
It seems like you were just talking about guards screening. There's a lot of guards screening in this offense. A lot more off-ball stuff than I think we're used to seeing. How intentional is that in that, like, what problems were you trying to address when you implemented that?
We got to off-ball really a lot last year. We got away from it. And so we were number one in frequency in off-ball at the beginning of last year, and that's because at the beginning of the year, teams obviously, they're not switching as much, and they're playing with a sense of, intentionality and purpose. And so we wanted to get that back early, and it's important that we try and keep that throughout the year, that pick and roll isn't the only frequency that we have, that it's off-ball, that it's speed, it's pace, and our ability to screen, for each other gets us live catchers on the perimeter with space, and we have to be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, Drew said he thinks that Jayson might be the best screener on this team. Do you see that in film, and then is that something that, I don't know, you guys worked on, you kind of talked about that?
I think it's something that he's really wanted to work on over the last couple of years. He's gotten better at it significantly year to year, and it's something that he takes pride in. And when you have a guy that can handle and screen, it changes our offense, and it changes the way teams are able to guard us. And so I think both him and Jaylen are learning how to do things without the ball that are making our offense and our team significantly better, and on both ends, and that's important.
Talking about kind of the off-ball action fading as last year went on, and just sort of, things going a little stale offensively as the year went on. You mentioned the hot start last year and kind of having ways to respond to that as the year went on. How do you try to keep the habits going? Those little things that you need to do to keep those actions going?
Yeah, I think you try to find small ways to reinvent them so that they seem new and fun. And at the same time, understand that, like, when we're at our best, we have to do these particular things. And so it's early. We'll go through a phase in the season where it's a little bit stale, and we got to fight like hell to get out of it. And that's just kind of how the season works. And it's more about how quickly can we get out of those small state moments and get back to what makes us really good.
And that's on Friday, Saturday. You talked a lot about that game that stuck with you last year, the 28-point game. Just how did that kind of stick with you and just help you grow as a coach?
I definitely think just understanding momentum, understanding how games are being played, and we always talk about how, like, we got off to a really hot start, and we led for a majority of that first half, and then it started to dwindle towards the end of the first half, and it really spread to our philosophy on how we want to start quarters, end quarters, start halves, end halves, and what are things that you need to do on both ends of the ball to eliminate a team's variance or ability to shoot at a high level over a long period of time. And so I thought last night was a stepping stone in that, where we had a similar lead to what we did in the first half of that game, and we came out and played with the same mentality as if it was the start of the game. And so I'd like to say that we're going to do that every time. I doubt we are. But the more times we can have that mentality, the better it is for our team.
Joe, Sam was saying you guys had a backup only film session Tuesday, I think. He said it was beneficial. Is that something you do frequently? What kind of
No, I didn't do it enough last year. I think it's another area of where I learned is, before I became a coach, I spent all my time with those guys, and that was one of my favorite things to do because, that unit has a hard job because everything is up in the air. They don't know when they're playing, when they're getting their shot, who they're playing against. Is it in a lead, or is it in a deficit? Is it in meaningful minutes or ones that just don't really matter? So they have a really hard job, and I think the more we can be on the same page about their value regardless of what's going on, I think it's important for our team. And like we talked today, we got 14 games in 25 days, and they'll be back-to-backs, and people will be sitting and people will be missing games, and just got to have everybody ready. And so they take a lot of pride, in their role in that. What you? Yeah.
What is the plan with that? Al all didn't play the back-to-backs last year. Just kind of trying to sprinkle in rest on each end of those back-to-backs for those guys.
We haven't talked about it yet, but I'm sure we'll do what we can to make sure we win the game and give those guys the rest that they need.
Please are you at this point to see the work that you guys did put in? Of course, you have the players that can do the work, but to see that actually translate to this kind of success.
Yeah, I'm good with the mindset and the ownership right now. Like, it's not really about what I say. It's like if you don't have a group of guys willing to do what it takes, then you can't get it done. And so I like the mindset that the guys have brought. I like the ownership that they've taken to the things that are important. And we just got to fight to keep that going for as long as we can, knowing that it's going to be hard and that we're going to let ourselves down from time to time, but just got to get back up quicker. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.